channel. It's Ashley here, and if you are new, hey girl, hey. So today's video, I'm super excited because it is a furniture makeover, and I'm going to be transforming this desk into end tables. I am so excited because I've always wanted to do this, and I'm finally getting it done, and I am super excited to show you how you can do this as well. This desk I got from Facebook Marketplace. It was completely free, and that was a plus. But it is a lot of stuff going on here. Paint chips, dings, the hardware has glitter on it. Not a big fan of that. So I'm just going to completely transform this whole desk. So with that being said, let's get started. Okay, so first things first, I just want to add this clip in here because if you follow me on Instagram, you will know that I made an IGTV video on the different ways that you can break down this desk depending on what tools you have. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, make sure you go check it out on Instagram so that you can know those different ways. But I'll also have that down in the description as well. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is start to remove all of my drawers from the desk. Okay, so now I've placed this desk on its back, and I'm just going to remove all of the screws at the top of this desk so that I'll be able to just pull off that top very easily. Okay, so I just left this little clip in here because I literally was trying to figure out, oh my God, why is the top not coming off of this dresser? Well, this isn't even a dresser, a desk. And it's because I did not remove the screws in the back too. So anyways, I'm just doing this, leaving this clip in here to remind you to make sure you check and make sure you have all of your screws removed before you try to pull apart anything. Okay, so now I'm just gonna take my rubber mallet and I'm just going to bam up the center part here to remove that from both sides. All right, so now I'm going to take my circular saw and I am going to saw from the front to the back. If you didn't have a circular saw, what you could do is just remove that portion there, and then you would have to fill up the other side, if that makes any sense. But since I have my circular saw, I'm going to be using the circular saw, and I'm just going to saw both of my sides. Now I'm just going to remove the drawer tracks that were on both sides of the desk. All right, so since I removed the center portion, of course, there's just now empty space, and I'm just going to take my Bondo and I'm going to fill all of that in and then sand it down. I like to use Bondo, but you can use whatever you want. You can use painter's putty, whatever works for you. I just like to use Bondo when doing stuff like this. So now I'm just gonna go around the piece and I'm just gonna be taking my Bondo and filling in any holes or imperfections that need to be covered up. Now I'm going to use my belt sander and I'm going to start to sand down the Bondo. Since I did a lot of buildup of this Bondo and it's really nice and thick and hard, I am going to be using an 80 grit sandpaper to make it easier for me to sand down. Now I'm going to go in with my palm sander with about 100 grit, and then I'm going to start to smooth out what I just sanded. And I'm going to do that same exact thing for the other side of our end table. So instead of stripping this whole thing down and removing the paint, I'm just going to sand it to make sure that I remove any varnish. Okay, so now I'm just gonna use my table saw because I had a little piece on one of the end tables that was like too far out, but I didn't want to use my circular saw because I'm very bad at cutting in a straight line. So I just used my table saw very carefully to remove that little piece. All right, so now I'm gonna start to work on my drawers, and first I'm going to remove all of my hardware. So as as you can see, I started to sand this, but the paint is like really, really thick, and so we're not gonna do that. And I'm just going to use my sanded glosser and citrus strip, and we are going to strip off the paint. Alright, so after that stripper has been on there for about 30 minutes or an hour, however long you want to keep it on there, you can start to remove the paint. Okay, so one thing I like to do is take goo off, and I like to use that to help me remove the stripper, because if you use stripper, you know, it's really, really sticky and nasty, and the after wash really just helps you clean it up really quickly, and you don't have to worry about any of this sticky residue. So now I'm gonna take my palm sander with, can't remember if it was 100 or 150 grit that I used, and I'm gonna start to sand down my bottom drawers completely. All right, so now I'm just gonna do some little touch-ups. So the bottom portion here, it was a little loose, so all I had to do was knock the nail back into place to tighten it up. And then after that, I'm just going to wipe the piece down, making sure I'm removing any dust or dirt that's on there to get it prepped for priming. All right, so now I'm just gonna use my Kiln stain blocking primer, and I'm going to start to prime both of these pieces. So after my primer is nice and dry, I'm going to start to paint this piece to the color that I chose. The color, I don't remember the name of it, but I will have it in the description box for you to check out. Also, the paintbrush that I'm using, it is a Zibra paintbrush. Absolutely love it, and I will have this linked down there as well. So now I'm going to start to add like some texture and dimension to this using my glaze, white paint, and just dabbing it on there, removing what I don't want or anything like that. You just play around with what you're doing, just have fun. If you don't like it, the number one thing to make sure you do before you start doing this is put your clear wax over your paint, so it'll be easy for you to remove what you don't want. But if you end up not liking it, just totally like you just don't like it at all, you can just strip it off, or you can just paint over it. I just painted over it if it was something that I didn't like, and you can just restart all over again. But at the end of the day, just make sure you're having fun with what you're creating. All right, so now I'm going to just add the stencil onto here. So you can see it's just like a variation of colors. So I have like a darker tint color, a lighter color, grays in there with the white. So it's all gonna kind of like come together, and you'll see why I actually put the stencil on top of it. So the stencil's just, this stencil I got from Hobby Lobby, and I just liked the print. And I'm just going to take my white chalk paint and start to stencil over it. Let me just tell you, I'm not the best at stenciling. I'm actually terrible. So I'm going to show you what I do whenever I like mess up a stencil to kind of give it a distressed aged look, which is just going with the flow and then sanding over it. All you have to do is take a palm sander and sand it down. So you're gonna start to sand it smooth, and then you'll just start to kind of chip away what you don't want to make it, to give it like that aged vintage feel. And this just worked out perfectly, and I just love the way it turned out. Okay, so now we're gonna start to work on our top. So this piece of wood, I'm pretty sure it's like either 4 or 3 inches thick, and this is what we're gonna be using for our top. This also gives this piece a little bit more height as well. So I'm just measuring my sides out to where I need to cut, and then I'm going to cut each of these pieces on my miter saw. So now that I have all my pieces cut, I'm just going to add some pre-stain on to my pieces first, and then I'm going to add briar smoke on top of that. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to add your screws in if you don't have a pocket hole jig. Pretty sure they used to do this back in the day when they didn't have it, so you can still do it. And what you're basically going to do is just kind of make sure you're at an angle, and you're going to drill your hole first, and then you're going to add your screw at an angle, and it will be connected and you will be good to go. It's that simple. And honestly, I like to use my nail gun, but since my nail gun is in storage and I don't know where it is and blah, 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 I've been finding different ways to add wood to the top without using it. And this is one way you can do that. And one way you can do it without, if you don't have the pocket hole jig, which I need to get me one. But if you don't have one, you can do it like this. All right, and the moment you've been waiting for, the reveal. So here are the end tables. I'm in love with how they turned out. The tops are sealed with polyacrylic. The body is sealed with wax. The knobs, oh my gosh, the knobs. I love them so much. Got them from Home Goods. You can actually get them from Amazon as well, so I will have them linked down below, just in case your Home Goods doesn't have them. I just love how these turned out. Oh my gosh, how the sides are just so different from the front, and the top with the wood and the bottom. I just love how this turned out. Very boho, farmhouse, love it. I hope you love it too. If you do, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you'll always be up to date with my latest videos, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!